and welcome aboard the SM-91. This is a bit of a peculiar plane. If you're a fan of the Regia Aeronautica, you've probably heard about this plane. At first glance, it kind of looks like an extra-large version of the American P-38 Lightning, but I can assure you that those planes are quite different in practice. The SM-91 is a heavy fighter, playing a similar role as the Me-410 of the Luftwaffe. In fact, it has a fairly respectable bomb load if you want to take it out in ground forces. But that's not what I'm going to be showing in this video. The SM-91 has a few tricks up its sleeve in ARB. It's not very fast, and its maneuverability is certainly nothing to brag about, but you kind of forget about all of that when you realize that 1. It gets an airspawn, and 2. It has 7 MG-151 cannons, 6 facing forward with 1,800 rounds, and 1 in a little remote turret at the rear of the cockpit. Of course, if you've ever flown the Me-410, you'll know that guns alone won't make you competitive, but for some odd reason, people just aren't cautious around the SM-91. You have pilots in Spitfires and Airacobras going head-on with you when you're facing them, and then completely ignoring you when you're behind them. Well, I don't know, maybe it's the low battle rating of 3.7, or maybe it's because the SM-91 is a bit of a rarer plane, but people really don't seem to know the SM-91's weaknesses, and that makes for a heavily exploitable state of the game. I've seen other videos done on the SM-91, and some people claim that it's broken or overpowered. Honestly, I don't think that's the case. A skilled pilot in an Airacobra or Spit-2B will easily give you a bad time, and in fact most of my games in the SM-91 end up ending very quickly because you're a big enough target that the enemies do tend to swarm you. For that reason, I usually like to pick off bombers and attackers at the start of the game, like this T-18B. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Man, I love MG-151s. At this low of a battle rating, they're even deadlier than usual because your targets aren't moving at the high speeds of Superprop tier, which means the already impressive range of the mine shells extends out past 1.5 kilometers in extreme cases. A word to the wise if you see an SM-91 in the wild. Get the hell out of its firing arc, because your life does depend on it. Honestly, once you do that, the battle is practically won, because the SM-91 is so sluggish at rolling that you can easily fly circles around it in most proper fighters. In fact, the SM-91 is not a terribly durable plane either, in my experience, although sometimes it does pull a miracle or two, especially against lower caliber weapons. This game is a spectacular demonstration of both that and enemies that consistently underestimate the SM-91's capabilities. Enjoy the show. And honestly, that's about all there is to this plane. It's not a great airframe, but if you run in with a greedy mindset and just take what you can get, most of the time you end up mopping the floor with half the enemy team because they just don't know how to fight you. The rest of this game is a bit boring. I limp back to the base, repair, and by the time I'm back up in the air, my team has dealt with the rest of the enemies. Told ya, games of the SM91 are usually pretty short. Now, before I sign off, this is a bit of a special video. I passed 100 subscribers a few days back, and I want to thank you guys for sticking around. I know there are a lot of people out there making War Thunder content, and a lot of them are way better at the game than I am and probably ever will be. So I'm happy that my content has been enjoyable enough that at least some of you want to keep seeing it. Happy Easter, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.